Appreciate you hopping on this morning. Congratulations on the news that Trackhouse announced yesterday that you will attempt the 2025 Daytona 500. Tell us a little bit about how this came together and what you're looking forward to the most here in a couple weeks.
Well, thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate that. I'm super excited with this news, of course. Everything is started was so in a different way. I was racing SRX a few years ago, I guess now, because we're in 25, and Hawk basically was the guy in charge back then, and we've made a bet if I win a race, he's gonna start making connections in the NASCAR world. And I said, okay, let's make that happen. And obviously, I ended up winning the race, which was super cool. I had a great time. Again, I'm racing with those amazing champions. And from there on, it just started snowballing. Justin Marks contact us and talk about it. He's a very good friend with Mike Shank, which is today's also my partner in Mike's MSR. And as we start discussing and talking, things start getting tractions. Last year we couldn't do it, and by the end of the last year, Mark and I and everyone basically will start putting all the dots together. Now Jeff and all the rest of the Trackhouse team are super excited with this Project 91. I'm excited. Obviously, it's something that I was thinking about it. I always want to do it. When I used to race with Penske Racing, I asked about it, but Roger never allowed me to. But now, finally, you gotta keep pushing. You gotta keep believing. One day that dream will come true, and here we go. We're gonna be doing the Daytona 500. We're gonna fight for Daytona 500.
All right, thank you. And quickly, before we go to media for questions, we're going to bring Justin in, who's joined us as well. Justin, if you don't mind, just let us know kind of your vantage point of this opportunity and the opportunity to bring Project 91 back to the track.
All right, everybody can hear me, yeah?
Yep.
Good, okay. Yeah, thanks everybody for the time. This is exactly what Project 91 is all about. It's about bringing, the best drivers in the world from different disciplines to the great sport of NASCAR. And it's really exciting to be talking about the return of Project 91. Because in 2024, we took a hiatus and we had a lot of things going on with, programs with other teams and, helping the SVG preparation on the SVG cars at Colleague and all this kind of stuff. So, it didn't really make a lot of sense in 2024, but the project very much was alive, and we were very excited to get it going again. And every race we've done with Project 91 has been on road courses with road course specialists, and really wanted to put ourselves in a position to kind of branch out. And when the time was right to take Project 91 to the ovals, it required a lot of consideration and a lot of thought. And there was a list of names when I first started Project 91 that was about 10 or 12 long, and Helio was on that list, and never really talked to him about it just because of what he was doing in sports cars or in Indy cars at the time, and kind of where we were. But it was with Helio, it was almost like there was like a little asterisk next to the name, because I was really excited about taking somebody who was so successful at one of the biggest oval tracks in the world and bring it to our biggest oval track in NASCAR, the Daytona 500. And so, we didn't really communicate about it at all. Obviously, was following, him in SRX, and him and Don Hawk talking about trying to go cup racing. And so it was one of that moment where he's like, okay, well, this guy really wants to do it and he's excited about doing it. And so let's kind of put the pieces together to see from, a work bandwidth and from, sponsorship bandwidth, if we can take this car to the Daytona 500. And when it became clear that this was something that Trackhouse could do, Helio, that list of 12 became one. And it was really about taking a guy like Helio Castroneves, who's who I've known for a long time, obviously, have a lot of respect for, 4-time winner of the Indy 500. It's an incredible thing. He's got experience at Daytona in the IROC series. And so it was, So yeah, it was very, very exciting. You know, I called Helio and said, "Look, I'm not 100% there yet." It was sort of the same call that I made to SVG. But if you just tell me you want to do it, so I can continue doing the work. And he said that he did, and we were able to put it all together. And you know, I think the coolest thing about Project 91 is being able to make the phone call to these drivers and say, you know, hey, do you want to come do this thing? And when I hung up on that phone call with Helio, it became clear that, you know, this is a guy that's gonna be excited about it, dedicated to it, and really put a great effort together. So we're thrilled to have him in the house, and we're gonna put a great race car on the racetrack for him and have a lot of fun.
All right, we'll now go to the media for questions. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. We're going to get to as many questions as we can in the time that we have. And to kick us off, we will go to Bruce Martin. Bruce, go ahead with your question.
Helio, congratulations.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that.
Hey, with the iconic nature of Daytona being the high banks, the fact that you've raced both IROC and IMSA, the Rolex, used the high banks in Rolex with most of the road course, and also with IROC, how much do you think that's going to help you adapt to the unique type of racing it takes in the Daytona 500?
Yeah, today I'm very glad I did some of the races with the iRock about 3 years in a row, and I had one of the amazing battles with Matt Kenson and Mark Martin, and actually with Jimmy Johnson and all the rest of the guys, the NASCAR world, which was really fun. And yes, that helps a lot. Even that is a completely different cars back then, but at least it gave me a little bit of a understanding what I need to do. The muscle memory is going to come back, and but again, we hopefully we're gonna. In the qualifying, I believe now we're going to be able to practice before qualifying, which is great. So give me a little bit a sense of understanding what I need to do. It will be a challenge, no question about that. However, it's a big oval, it's a tough oval, it's a lot of fierce competitors, but I have a great group behind me, which is that's another area that we need to touch. You know, they do this, they did this before with people who have no experience at all, and again, they understand, they're guiding, they're doing everything we can. We're doing sim, we're doing everything we can to make sure that when we got there, we understand what we need to do. I think the biggest challenge for me is going to be the pits, because remember, IndyCar and sports car, you just press the button and you reach the 60 miles an hour without a problem. There, with the cup cars, you don't have it. Everything got to be like visual aspect and feeling aspect. So that would be, I think, would be the biggest challenge instead of actually the high banks of the Daytona.
Of course, you're a racing driver, a racing champion, but in some ways, do you feel like you're carrying the IndyCar flag into NASCAR's biggest race? That you're representing a class of drivers that you want to be able to prove can compete with the best in NASCAR?
Yes, I mean, in the end of the day, my whole career was based in IndyCar, and of course, that's where my background. In the end of the day, I will obviously learn during the race. I understand that. We'll probably ask a lot of questions with some of the drivers that I already know in the field and in the paddock area. So I'm not sure if they're going to give me the right answer. It's okay. I'm used to. But I will find out. I will learn. But first, we got to race, of course, to the race and make sure that we put ourselves in a good position to be at the Sunday race.
And if I could sneak one into Justin. Justin, what does this do for the Trackhouse brand? Because Helio Castroneves is elite category as a four-time Indianapolis 500 winner. What does that really do for the Trackhouse brand to add him to the program and to your history?
Well, I mean, it's a perfect fit for, what we're trying to do, and that's, do really compelling programs on the racetrack, competitive programs, unique programs, and the what I'm really excited about is, and you guys can fact check me or not, but we're taking 4 cars to the Daytona 500 with 4 drivers born in 4 different countries. And I don't know if that's ever been done before. I think we're probably the first ones to ever do that. And we're going to be representing Brazil, New Zealand, Mexico, and the USA at the Daytona 500. And that's kind of what we're all about, is these really cool, unique programs that represent our love and passion for all of motorsports. And we do, a big portion of Trackhouse obviously is NASCAR and kind of bringing our love for motorsports around the world to NASCAR. So it fits really well. I mean, like I said, I've known Helio for a long time, and he's a great personality, a dedicated guy, and he really fit in with the group really, really quickly. And what does it do for our company? I mean, we go to the racetrack to try to win every time we go to the racetrack. But I've said this a number of times. We try to bring just great stories to the fans and great stories to these events. And this is really in line with the strategy of the company. And I think if you guys have seen over the years, we're all about doing things that people just haven't quite seen yet before. And so it fits that strategy really, really well. I think at the end of the day, it's really exciting to just bring a friend of mine into the house, and one that I've known for a long time, and have a lot of fun with.
Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to Jenna Fryer. Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get myself off mute after this glorious Christmas break. Congratulations, Elio. I'm wondering what this does for your competitive, spirit. Now that you've transitioned more into an ownership role and a team leader role and less of a driver, if this new challenge kind of gives you something to get really excited for.
Oh, Jenna, thank you. Hope you had a great holidays, of course. But let me tell you, for me, as soon as you put the helmet on, it's game on. It's time to go and do what you know best, to do what I've been doing for a long time. I don't think now that I'm transitioned, becoming a team owner and helping other drivers or young drivers to go in different directions. I to be honest, staying a little bit on the other side of the time stand, it's actually not bad to take a visual all aspect. However, going to a world that I haven't been on it's going to be the first time. So I feel I am a rookie. I will learn along the way as with this project, literally coming along. But I'm excited to be representing not only Trackhouse or Project91, excited to be representing an incredible brand, which is Wendy's. So this for me, it's great. It's just like it's coming back. I feel ready. It will be so much fun, and I will do everything I can to make sure that I put myself in the conditions. I understand that you gotta have. I do have great teammates. I'll do everything I can to follow their lead, and who knows what's going to happen in the end. But as of right now, I'm going for it. I'm going the way I just go for every Indy 500.
Could you win an Indy 500? Could you win a fifth Indy 500 and the Daytona 500 this year?
Of course I can. Otherwise, I won't be putting my helmet on and put myself in this condition.
All right. Our next question will go to Nathan Brown. Go ahead, Nathan.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining this morning. I have a question for both. I'll start with Elio. Elio, I know you talked a little bit already about long-held dreams of wanting to run in NASCAR and wanting to do the Daytona 500. Did you knowing that you're 49, your full-time running days are over, did you have any thoughts or hesitations about trying something new at this point in your career, or do you feel like this is a perfect time to try something new where you're not running an Indy car, 17 races a year and dozens more practice and test days?
Thanks for that question, Stephen. I'll be honest with you, it never crossed my mind that I'm not a driver anymore. In fact, I was still fighting to get the Daytona 24 hours with my own team that I couldn't make it. So to try to go for 4 in a row, but I wasn't able to do it. However, the reason I say that it's because I'm very much alive. I'm very much fit, ready, and I'm very much in love with the sport that I grew up. So when you put all these ingredients together, as soon as I was actually bothering Justin, what's happening? Are we doing this or not? Are we gonna do this or not? But so that's just to show that the fire, the excitement is still very much alive. And again, I won't put myself in this position that I don't think I'm ready to do it. So yeah, never crossed my mind, and probably going to take a long time for me to try to go to transition of not driving anymore. So, but as of right now, I'm doing everything I can to make sure I can make the race.
Is this something that you want to do more than once, where you can learn this year and come back and try it again and feel like you can build off something? Or is this something more where you feel like this is a big bucket list item and opportunity that you'd love to do once to say you've been able to do it and do the best you can one time?
Look, when you see an opportunity, first of all, an incredible opportunity like this, it's very difficult that you let it by, and we got to see the future. Yes, I'd love to continue, no question about. Just like I'm doing the Indy 500, and I know that I have the potential to do it. Yes, I'm definitely gonna continue pushing for it to make it happen.
Cool. And then one a related question for Justin. Justin, I know as far as I'm aware, this is the first race that you guys have announced for Project 91 this year. Do you guys have any other plans in the works to either run Elio or someone else this year? And what would make how would it make sense for you guys to run Elio either at another race this year or potentially another Daytona 500 in the future?
Well, yeah, well, I think there's always plans. I mean, I still have a list of drivers. I still have a list of tracks that I want to go to. I've got a list of all kinds of, crazy things I'd love to see happen on the racetrack, more than anything, just as a race fan, just to, do things, put cars and drivers on the racetrack that I would love to watch just as a race fan. So, there's a lot of things that we want to do, but, when you really look at it, it comes down to, resources, people, bandwidth. I mean, we have to take a real look at workflow. And, we've got 3 cars that we're going to be competing with this year to try to get into the playoffs full time in the Cup Series. And that is really the priority of the company. And so when it comes to kind of the future of Project 91 and how we view that program, it really has to fit around competitive and effective workflow for our 3 full-time cars. And so, it's no small feat to take a 4th car to the Daytona 500. That requires a lot of preparation. You have to prepare that car right in the middle of preparing 3 other teams for the entire season. So it's a lot of work. And so in that context, we really just have to take it one race at a time. And right now we're 100% focused on the Daytona 500 with Helio. But I would say that, anything can happen. I mean, we had 1 race planned for SVG at Chicago, and that turned into a full-time program in the Cup Series with them this year. So really, anything is possible, but the focus really is what's just right in front of us, and that's preparing really, really fast race car for Helio. So we've got good 1-lap speed and got some good speed on the board going into the duels, and having a good dual race, and getting the car in the 500 and then go racing and try to make something special happen. But big dreams for Project 91, big long-term plans. But we have to focus one race at a time to make sure that the cars we bring to the racetrack are very, very competitive. First and foremost, have an opportunity to win the race.
I know you've spent a good amount of time around Elio and around Meyershank Racing and around IndyCar, the sport in general. And you've talked before about hopes and aspirations of one day running in IndyCar, if it makes sense. Where would you say that dream or that goal is at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, still very much there. The Indianapolis 500 is, it's just one of the most special races in the world. And as Trackhouse grows and expands, obviously, we've expanded to the MotoGP World Championship, and, we're constantly looking at opportunities to grow and scale the brand into new areas that are compelling and exciting. And the Indianapolis 500 is right up there. I mean, my love for racing started at going to dirt tracks in Illinois and Iowa with my grandfather. But in 1995, my father took me to the Indianapolis 500, and I sat up there in the grandstands and watched Jacques Villeneuve win the race, and was so moved and and so captivated by the Indianapolis 500. And it was really that moment that I knew that the racetrack was going to be home for me in some capacity my entire life. And the Indianapolis 500 really cemented the passion for motorsports that I had, and put me on a path to start thinking about it as a career. And so it's, I've every year for the last 5 or 6 years, I've gone to a practice day at the Indy 500 and, sat on the pit box and, talk to the drivers and watch the cars going around the racetrack, because it's such an incredible experience just being there and watching. And so, it is certainly a dream of mine to have Trackhouse represented in that race. There are continuing discussions. It's no small feat. It's something that we've looked at as a company for a number of years, and I think when the time is right, we'll take a real hard look at it. I mean, obviously we won't be competing in the race in 2025, but there are discussions ongoing about how to make something like that happen. So it's very high on my personal list. And then I got to get sort of the business and commercial and partnerships and all that kind of worked out to figure out how to do it in a meaningful and competitive way. So I don't think that the Trackhouse story will ever be complete without us competing in the world's greatest open wheel race.
Super. Thanks, and congrats to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our next question will go to Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey guys, appreciate the time. Two questions, one for both of you. We'll start with Helio. Helio, will you be in the car before Daytona? We've seen other drivers who've done this program have the opportunity to go and do a test somewhere and just kind of get acclimated to the next gen car.
I believe we're going to be able to do a test in Talladega, and before the race. I think NASCAR allow us at least to do a familiarization with the car. Obviously, I never been in a cup car before, and just to see how it is. And I'll probably focus most of it, as I mentioned before, on the in and out the pits to make sure that I can understand the whole system. Another thing that people don't understand, it's that when you go into the pits, normally within the car, you park as close as possible or stop as close as possible to the wall, because the fueler. In the cup cars, you actually got to be a little bit farther so that the check guy can basically raise the car. So there is some tricks onto that, and I will take that advantage or that opportunity that NASCAR is giving us so they can at least acclimate to that.
Very good. And then Justin, you kind of talked about the workflow in the Trackhouse as a whole. You guys have 3 full-time teams this year. You're running a 4th car part-time. What have you guys had to do in terms of addition of personnel and everything?
Well, we have a lot of folks that work at Trackhouse that don't travel, that are, shop based, whether it's, mechanics, management of the shop floor and workflow. A lot of people that have deep and extensive experience on the road fielding race teams. And so, when you go back to Chicago in 2023, really all of the Project 91 races, starting with Kimi Räikkönen and then through SVG, it's guys that work at Trackhouse every single day on the shop floor that, put their hand up and said, we want to go on the road with Project 91, and they've all got experience on the road. So, getting the cars through tech preparation, execution at the races, we've got a group of people already in the building that have a lot of experience doing that, and obviously have been successful so far in Project 91 doing it. So it's really a matter of, we've got 21 cars to build for the, for the 3 teams that are going to be competing full time. And it's a matter of going, okay, when we prepare for the Daytona 500 and we're building those cars, how do we do that? How do we do 25% more work for the Daytona 500? And so it just requires a little bit of extra planning, scheduling with the chassis, when the build schedules, the setup schedules, things like that. And we just kind of work it in. So so it doesn't really impact everything else, like I said. But we've got great talent inside that building that's got a lot of experience doing this, and they're all excited about doing a little bit of extra work because these are exciting programs. We're bringing in the best drivers in the world, and we know we've got a chance to be very, very competitive every time we do it. So there's a lot of enthusiasm, experience, and talent in the building. And that's kind of the long answer of saying, we don't have a single full-time Project 91 employee, but at this point of the game, we don't feel like we need it because we've got incredibly talented people in the building that want to be a part of Project 91 and do the extra work, and we've won with that group. So yeah, it's a little bit of extra work, but we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think we could put very competitive race cars on the track.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, our next question will go to Jefferson Kirk.
Okay, I will do it in Portuguese, thinking about Helio fans because they are so much. Elinho, tudo bem?
Eu tô bem. Como é que você tá?
Beleza. Queria saber de você aí, falando em português aí para a galera do Brasil, quantos anos, quantas vezes aí você vinha pedindo já para o Roger para tentar correr de NASCAR, que ele nunca deixou você, e em que momento seu caminho se cruzou com o do Justin e você pôde materializar essa oportunidade para tentar correr Daytona desse ano?
Ah, eu vou te dizer uma verdade. Teve umas várias. Eu tô há 20 anos, fiquei há 20 anos com o Roger, e mais ou menos uns 3 vezes eu perguntei durante esses anos, mais para o final, se eu podia experimentar a NASCAR e ele nunca me autorizou. Entendo até, talvez ele mesmo disse como não era uma oportunidade naquela época correta, mas. E aí, depois, o ano passado, o ano retrasado, vamos dizer assim, foi quando começou essa história toda quando eu estava fazendo a SRX, que era uma corrida especial aqui que eles faziam com os campeões do meio, né? Então foi legal que deu para se juntar, se comunicar e agora essa oportunidade está se tornando realidade. Agora temos que trabalhar um pouquinho aí que realmente é um ambiente diferente do que eu estou acostumado na Fórmula Indy.
Como é que vai ser para você se preparar numa corrida em que praticamente não tem treinos antes, tem um treino livre, já é o qualifying, e se correr em Daytona essa prova, altera alguma coisa na sua rotina de como você se prepara para as 500 milhas de Indianápolis, que é o que a galera aqui no Brasil fica sempre na torcida por você.
Os carros são bem diferentes, eu não vejo muita similaridade, então por isso que eu vou como um estreante mesmo na NASCAR, entender bastante não só a dinâmica, né, a parte aerodinâmica do carro também, é bem diferente como é na Fórmula Indy, então tudo isso eu vou aprendendo durante a corrida e são 4 horas de corrida, então quer dizer, tem bastante tempo, bastante voltas para a gente entender como funciona.
Mr. Marks, the last time a driver debuted in the 91 SVG won in Chicago, would you bet that history could repeat itself with Helio? And well, Helio has been following races in Brazil. Would you consider looking for some great motorsport talent from South America, like Trackhouse did by bringing SVG from Australia?
So for the first question, I mean, do we have a chance of winning the race? Absolutely. I mean, I think the Daytona 500 has proven itself as a race that really the doors are open for a lot of people to put themselves in position to win the race. And I know we'll have a fast race car, and Helio will have an opportunity to learn the draft and the dual races on Thursday and kind of get comfortable about how momentum is built and how to move around and get yourselves in a position. And then I think if we can stay out of the mess and put ourselves in a good position for that last run to the checkered flag, I mean, truly anything is possible, and we're going to bring a race car that's capable of doing that. So yeah, that's what's really exciting to me is that we've proven that this can win. We've proven that programs like this can win these races, and the Daytona 500 it's an amazing opportunity for a lot of cars. So for sure we can do that. And then as far as Brazil, I mean, look, we're looking all around the world for talent, and there's a lot of interest, and I think the entire idea of Project 91 is to bring the greatest motorsports drivers from all over the world into the NASCAR sport. And so, nothing is off the table. Like I said, we have a list of drivers that we think could be very successful in Project 91. And Helio is not the only South American on that list. So, I think we'll see how things develop over time.
Okay, thanks guys. Best from Brazil.
Thank you.
Thank you. Valeu.
Our next question will go to Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin, with your question.
Thank you. Justin, I just want to go back in terms of the Project 91, and I know you talk about all the work that goes into it. So is there an envision of actually running races with that car this year? And would you go away from the road courses and do more ovals or return to the road course? Is that kind of your, as you do your long-term planning? Uh, I'm sure you've got ideas in place because this is not something that's done on a whim. So are we going to see Project 91 again this year?
I don't know if I can answer that question of whether or not we'll see it again this year. I mean, there's certainly a number of races that we've identified that are great fits for the program. And that's typically on the road courses because when you're talking about talent from around the world, it's all road course racers. We're the only country in the world that races on ovals, so you have to be very intentional and intelligent about how we think about taking Project 91 to the ovals. It's no small feat, the Daytona 500. It's a massive race. And I think this is a very unique and special opportunity because even though Helio's not been in one of these cars before, it's a very significant thing that he's got experience on ovals, a lot of experience on ovals, and a lot of success on ovals. So he understands how these races on the ovals work. Obviously, he's already got experience at Daytona in a stock car before. So it's a unique scenario. I think if you're looking at Formula One drivers or World Endurance Championship drivers or wherever else they might come from, we really want to put these guys in positions to be successful. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to take someone who's never been in a stock car before, never been on an oval before, and take them to Dover, Bristol, or Darlington or something like that. It's just such a big feat. We want to be successful with the car. So I would say primarily it is a road course program. This is just a very unique scenario where we think we can be successful with this car, at a big super speedway. So that's what I would say about that. And then, like I said, the future of it this year, we have. I don't want the ambition and the passion to supersede the amount of work we have to do this year on our 3 full-time cars. And we've been investing in engineering and vehicle performance groups and bringing more talent into the building to make sure our performance is there with our 3 full-time teams. That remains the North Star in the building and really what's the most important. And so while there are sort of races circled and conversations with drivers for Project 91, I think we just need to get through this Daytona 500, put a really good effort, be solely focused on that, and then when it's done, we can kind of re-rack the deck and take a look at it. But this is just it's a Project 91 is something that's very personally important to me. It's a passion project for me, but like I said, I'm not going to take my personal passion and desires and jeopardize, the really important stuff in the company, and that's the 1 and the 88 and the 99.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to Davey Siegel. Go ahead, Davey.
Morning, guys. Thanks so much for the time today. For Elio, you're obviously no stranger to qualifying for big races and big events in motorsports, especially without a guaranteed entry. How do you think this process is going to differ from other times in your motorsports career, trying to qualify for the Daytona 500 without a guaranteed spot?
You're on mute, Helio. You're on mute, buddy.
My bad, guys. Obviously, Dave, will be everything new. Will be certainly just like I went to Dancing with the Stars. I have no idea what's going to happen. So it was pretty much the same. It's I'm going to go follow the lead of the group. As I mentioned before, just not only providing incredible cars, but incredible people as well. And having them guiding me to the right direction will definitely help me to achieve the goals that we want. So again, it's a team, and I definitely gonna rely on the entire team, Project 91, to give and use those tools to make sure I can achieve the goals that I need.
You mentioned before about when you were with Penske wanting to do some races, Roger kind of putting the axe on that. This obviously being an oval, would you be interested in doing some road course racing in the future, or do you kind of think that you're going to take this as it comes and then maybe reevaluate? Where do you stand on that?
Heck yeah! I mean, definitely, I would like to drive as much as I can, and I feel those cars in the road course. Uh, Watching on TV, it's one thing. Obviously, I don't know how it would be, but it would be a lot of fun as well to try those cars in a road course. No doubt about it.
Cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question will go to Emmanuel.
Hi guys, hi Helio. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Do you mind if we ask you in Portuguese?
No problem.
Ok. Bom, nós estamos em dois aqui, então a gente vai tentar encaixar duas perguntas de uma rapidinho, eu e o Gabriel aqui da Band também. Helio, em primeiro lugar, você deixou claro para eles, para o pessoal aqui, que você não está parando, que você ainda tem muita paixão e que essa é uma lacuna que você preenche na sua carreira. Tem alguma ainda pela frente que você ainda quer realizar? De repente, sei lá, Le Mans, Rally, alguma coisa do tipo assim, que você fala, ainda quero fazer isso que eu não fiz?
Tem, inclusive trabalhando muito na Stock Car aqui no Brasil, que eu estou aqui no Brasil agora, né? Adoraria participar, foi onde criou a minha paixão no começo, quando eu tinha aqui 5 anos de idade. Então, quer dizer, seria muito bacana também fechar esse ciclo na temporada da Stock Car. Mas sim, Le Mans também é uma outra tipo de corrida que eu não tive oportunidades, mas tem que ser oportunidade boa também. Só para ir para passear não é legal. Corrida não é um esporte que você possa estar aí só admirando, mas tem que estar numa equipe legal e porque senão se torna pesadelo. Então, nesse sentido, sim, gostaria muito e se pintar a oportunidade, adoraria.
Legal. Gabriel?
Prazer falar com você. Eu queria perguntar que também você deixou claro aí para o povo que você falou que eu não quero parar ainda enquanto tiver chance de ser piloto, vou ser piloto. E eu queria te perguntar isso, você tem agora uma oportunidade única de igualar, por exemplo, uma marca do Mário Andretti, do AJ Foyt. Se é isso que te motiva ainda a estar correndo, você quebrar essas marcas, poder igualar esses caras, se é isso que é a sua motivação.
Não, muito. Essa é uma dos pontos que a gente não mencionou muito, mas exatamente isso. Somente dois pilotos no planeta conseguiram ter esse feito de ganhar as 500 milhas de Indianápolis, Daytona 500. Então, quer dizer, tendo essa oportunidade, seria fantástico, não só para mim, né, para o meu sonho, mas seria para a história também do automobilismo.
Thank you very much, guys. That's all.
Valeu.
All right, we'll take an additional question from Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Helio. How are you doing?
Good morning, Deb. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Thank you for your time. I'm going to expand a little bit on Jordan's question regarding your test at Talladega. And have you spent any time on the sim yet? How much time do you plan on to spend? How the sim? How will that progress?
I did, Deb. When I was doing my sit fitting at Trackhouse, I was able to spend a little bit of time at the sim. Amazing facility, by the way, with Chevy. I worked with Chevy for so many years, and I couldn't believe it how incredible the facility were in Charlotte, and able to learn a little bit of the lingo. As I mentioned before, working on the pit stops and pit lane, and to the whole process as a qualifying, things like that. So it was very useful. I will come back again to the sim, work a little bit more. It's probably before the test in Talladega as well, so that we can continue the process. So there is a process, and again, I'm following the lead with the Project91 group, and hopefully with that will put me as much as prepared as possible when you come to the first initial touch with the practice on Wednesday and qualifying.
Thank you. Good luck. See you in Daytona.
Thank you. I'll be there.
All right, we have time for one final question, and I will go to Luis Ribeiro. Go ahead.
Right. Hélio, primeiramente, bom dia. Luiz Felipe Ramos, aqui do portal e TV High Speed Brasil. Eu gostaria de saber se, independente do resultado que você tiver em Daytona 500, o quão as suas contribuições poderão ser úteis para a Trackhouse e também para os pilotos que nessa temporada na equipe seguirão, como o Shane, o Ross e o Daniel?
Obviamente, a experiência que eu tenho no automobilismo não é a primeira vez. Eu já estou aqui há mais de 20 anos e espero, por mais que sejam carros diferentes, mas a dinâmica, né, de uma equipe é muito parecida. Eu também estou aprendendo muito com eles para poder repassar certas coisas para Meyer Shank Racing, mas espero que essa situação entre eu e os pilotos, né, que estão fazendo a temporada inteira, a gente possa se comunicar de uma maneira que talvez ajude eles. Não sei, eu vou ter essa primeira. Eu só posso te responder quando eu estiver realmente junto com todo mundo, aí durante a semana da Daytona. Então, mas no princípio, eu é que vou mais aprender do que eles aprenderem comigo.
Perfeito, muito obrigado.
De nada.